So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Jeff?
Dang.
Well, dang. Hey, everybody. It's Jeff back with you again on another episode of What Are We Talking About? Now, what we're going to talk about today is really cool. I'm excited to give you one of my favorite artists to jump out there as well. Again, remember, most of the time when I'm talking, it's a Wisconsin artist, and today we're going to feature Miss Alyssia Dominguez on our section of our show today, and show you some quality on that. There's a whole bunch more coming up in this show, including some local news for the Wisconsin Rapids area and Wisconsin in general. The Shopko building has been jumped out there, and somebody finally purchased it and is going to put in some great stores. We're going to talk about that even more. And got some running news about local basketball. But first, we want to toss out some happy birthdays to some good friends. Mr. Angelo and Miss Sarah Bovey out there, some good friends of mine. Mr. Angelo from Stetson and Lace, and of course, Heart of Black. Celebrated her birthday yesterday, and Miss Sarah Bovey is going to sound like celebrate the whole daggum weekend. So you guys have a lot of fun and enjoy your birthdays, and it's good to have you another year on this earth. So happy birthday to you. We can go crazy with a whole bunch of stuff like that. National news, I guess you go along there. The lawyer is guilty. Cool. I think you already know that one. I'm not going to be the AP poll for what's going on with that. There's been a lull in political science, so I'm good there. Appreciate that very much. We're also going to talk about Facebook scams in the local sense. We're going to eye up some things and see what's going on with that, because a buddy of mine called me up looking. It's like, hey, man, you sit there on Marketplace and look at things. I have this fascination with just looking for cars or looking for stuff I need and or I want, and I'll sit there and find deals, and even if I don't buy it, I'll like save it and see what goes on, and all of a sudden I start becoming kind of market savvy. So I'm gonna show you guys what I ran into when we did this little outing yesterday on Facebook. I wanted to shoot this yesterday with you guys so bad, so I'm kind of excited to bring that to you today. I'm a little this morning. I'm not sure. I started taking multivitamins, and for some reason, I'm back to appendages falling asleep in the middle of a sleep there. So fingers going numb and stuff like that. That's not good. So I'm changing back to the normal vitamin D regimen and getting it right. So here's to you, everybody. I'm having my tea this morning. Don't have any creamer left, so coffee's kind of out of the question for me without a little bit of creamer, but I've got my tea. Probably do a detox in a little while as well. I got my water with my Brewers Cup because they're doing pretty cool. I mean, they lost yesterday, but it's preseason. But they've got, I don't know, still a pretty formidable pitching lineup to come, and they've got some new batters that are pretty doggone good, and their fielders are still great too. So keep an eye out. Even after losing Colton Wong, the Brewers are going to do just fine. So there's your kind of national sports report for Wisconsin right there. So while I'm talking about sports, let's just go to it. The Port Edwards boys basketball team I just saw on here playing tonight. They won their first round pretty handily and are going on. They're ranked number 6 in the rotation against number 3 Athens Blue Jays tonight at 7:00. So definitely check out the live stream on that. It's going to be at Athens High School, so I may think that Zaleski Sports might be doing that one on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that for anybody who wants to see what's going on in my life with basketball and stuff. The boys have been very good for a number of years out of Port Edwards, and the wild thing is my alma mater, Marion, also won their conference in the CWC North. So all the boys are doing quite incredible. The Port Edwards girls, we love you. I was lucky enough to be an assistant coach for a little while years ago for these younger girls that are now juniors and seniors. And, they're still growing so much in their personal lives that, basketball hasn't dominated their life, but it was so great to see the season this year and enjoy them. They did a great job. They really did. They learned so much over a short period of time. Some of the girls didn't play last year, so coming back in and kind of refreshing was pretty eye-opening for a lot of them, I'm sure. But just want to tell you, the boys are playing tonight, and we're always driven and excited for the boys to do really well. And Mr. Justin Beck, the coach there, man, A1 job. I got to learn under him a little bit. They let me kind of come in the room a couple times in the beginning of their season a number of years ago, and I contemplated being asked about the JV job because Justin was going to come up and take the varsity job. And, in honor of my wife, I don't take it because, if anything, I hope she gets a coaching job there someday. So this is her alma mater. But love it. Excited for the basketball tourney coming up. And hopefully we see Port Edwards in there. In Wisconsin Rapids news, guys, the Shopko building was bought, and I'm really excited to tell you that. They got Marshall's Big Lots. The conglomerate there is coming in, and they're going to do all 4, I believe, Harbor Freight Tools, and then their world conglomerate that they have now. So originally thought the newspaper had reported a little while ago that it seemed like TJ Maxx was coming, which is under the same conglomerate. So I'm assuming that's who flew into the airport, and they must have got wind of that, and it caused a lot of buzz. Well, they're going to put Marshall's in up here, and I think there's a lot of people very happy about that, not having to drive up the point to find a decent set of clothes once in a while. There's not a Kohl's here. We had Shopko for the longest time, besides some of the ladies probably had some good choices with Maurice's and stuff, but hey, us guys, we didn't have much to pick from either, clothing wise, unless we drove all the way up the point. So you take a break, and when you're up in point, then you shop. And now we can at least go, I really need a shirt, I want to get it, and it won't take me long. And so now that's going to be an option. Harbor Freight Tools always does good in Rapids. It's still a blue collar town in many ways, and I think that'll go over well. I do know our gentleman over at the other tool shop, and he's still really great. So please do visit him over there down off of see, I'm such a jerk, I can't remember. But he's right down off of 8th Street, about a block, and you can check out those tools as well. He has some knowledge you wouldn't believe. So I love my home area, Wisconsin Rapids, right now. So just plugging the friends. Lots of great stuff to come in the show here, guys. I had a busy day on Facebook, like I said yesterday, kind of looking through the marketplace, and I play a little bit of golf with my buddy and talk about things we need to get done. Then the phone starts ringing and business deals are going, and I check my calendar, and wouldn't you know it, yes, I have a gig coming up tonight. If you want to come see me, I'm at JR's Saloon in Polonia at 7:30 this evening. So very excited to just get back out and play some acoustic stuff. Did the track show, had a lot of fun doing that. Kind of nice to be able to play the guitar again and enjoy some time. So I'm getting pretty, you can tell I'm kind of groggy today. You all help me out. Get on the chats if you can. I'm going to go on here. I'll probably annoy the heck out of you with my volume for a second, but that's just me. That's how I roll, I guess. Here we go. Yes, sir. Turning it down. So here we go. Now I can see your comments if you're sending them out there. So I can see your comments right here, guys, on Facebook. And of course, you're out there on YouTube. Really enjoy having you guys out here. Please find us at DAHL Media Studios. So I've got this for you. I wanted to play you something, and I think you're just really going to enjoy this. So here you go. You got to restart. Here you go, everybody.
Missing the magical feeling I found when I saw you. You got me falling out of the moon. My head up in the clouds, nobody take me down, 'cause I'm flying high, high on you. You got me falling.
Such a great song, you guys. Well done on this production. This song should be heard by everybody and played by everybody. I'm really amazed by this, you guys. Yeah, so you guys can see it. You know, it really good stuff from Alyssia right there. Just really great. And I don't need to say it enough. That was just really strong, really well done on the video as well. And, you know, for a first shot out, I mean, she's got a couple of videos, guys, out there that are great. She kind of has the tools. You can see it. I mean, she's got the ability to play guitar. She's, you know, very nice looking and has a look that can be very contemporary as well. I think it's, you know, just steering her in the next levels and guiding her into really good stuff would be the goal now. You know, how people are going to receive her and what she can do. And I think the big thing, like for me, the big thing is that first 15 seconds, she can take over that room just by her look, by her voice. She posts all the time on Instagram. Check her out there. I'm going to actually jump on here and show you this so you get a chance to find her as well. So I put her on a search right there. She jumps right on up when you put her name in, Alyssia Dominguez. And I looked at the videos and stuff, but she has her links right here. She did another grouping of songs called Otra Vez, working with the great Ryan Rosabo, who was a Wisconsin-born dude, and love it. So you can see her tracks right here. She's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And she'll post about her day and make it kind of fun, I got to tell you. And I want to give you a little hint here. I'm going to throw this out there, strong and tough, right? Look who's in the background, Mr. Miles Wangerin. So like I said, you know, everybody helping each other out is pretty awesome. So Miles got to play guitar with her quite a bit, doing duos around here in Wisconsin, in southeast Wisconsin. And now you know. So yeah, Mr. Miles Wangerin right there hanging out in the background too. So very cool. Very proud of what they're doing. So I hope you guys get a chance to check that out. Alyssia Dominguez, Out of the Blue. All right. So that's pretty neat stuff. I'm hoping you got a chance to listen to that song most of the way through. And if you didn't, go out and buy it, please. Support your local artist. That's what we're trying to do here at What Are We Talking About, Jeff? It may be random stuff in my head, but we focus on really cool things that mean a lot to me. There you go. Here's a little water for you. Now, as we get to our first 20, I need to tell you guys to like and subscribe out there, what I'm doing. If you like it, do that, please. And then, of course, if you want to find out when I'm going to go on, because it's a bit random, make sure that you click on that bell over at YouTube, and that will get you to find this show and a lot more great stuff going on. I'm going to give you a breakdown here in just a bit of that whole Facebook thing we're going to do right after this. Thanks a lot, you guys.
So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Jeff?
Dang. Well, what are we talking about? Well, it's 10:17. How are you feeling? It's morning time now, and of course we can talk about the Bucks, who are on a 16-game roll. Holy crap! Are they rocking it now? So excited for that. Want to see such great things this year. We're hoping, I mean, it's not over the top hype from 2019, 2020, where all of a sudden they were the top team in wins and we thought they got it all, and the bubble happened and, you know, storylines happened and whatever. So seeing them truly win it, you know, a year or two later was, you know, pretty awesome, right? Now, I don't know. The pundits on this were pretty big. They haven't gone crazy, but they're pretty big on the idea of what we're doing. But they're still talking about other teams more. which I'm okay with. We're still talking about other teams more. You saw my rant on I think episode 10, where I kind of went off on Shannon Sharp. Love you, brother. It happens. Got the T going on. Another one, the Wisconsin Badgers lose a tough one last night, right? The Badgers are now 8-11 in the conference, and so difficult to find that out, but they're 8-11 in the conference, and they took Purdue all the way down to the end of the game, and it was just tough. There's a few little plays here and there, maybe some shot selection late where it was a one and done for us a couple times that might have been a little better thought of. That we had a 1-point lead. It was literally a 1-point game between the two teams. No one had a lead bigger than 1 point for almost 10 minutes. So it was a pretty hard-fought game last night. With that being a hard-fought game, and if you're going to be on the bubble or whatever, they were saying if they beat Purdue, that they're in the at-large. If they don't beat Purdue, they've got to win a couple games in the tournament here in order to at least make the at-large. I'm a little concerned that they're going to get dumped to, say, the 14th seed and end up one of the Tuesday or Wednesday play-ins. So they're going to be one of the 68 maybe, but not the 64, I think. And at least we'll see, because they may mess with them. They may, if they would have beat Purdue, I guaranteed they'd be a 12 seed. But without beating Purdue, you're falling into that category. And then do you get two 14s against each other is what I'm concerned they're going to do. So I don't see that being an impossibility now. From my perspective, maybe I'm way out there. Again, you guys can talk back to me anytime and tell me if I'm off base about this. All right? I love my Wisconsin sports, and it's just hard to see that. Now, Marquette won their first Big East. Marquette won their first Big East in 10 years, was it? So congratulations to Marquette. It always seems, it was for years we got spoiled with UW Phoenix, Green Bay, right? UW Madison, Marquette, and then sometimes even Milwaukee would get in there when Bruce Pearl was over there, and Coach Ron was out there, and have an affinity for UW Green Bay. And when they had Coach Dick Bennett, and Coach was at Marion for a little while as well, so there's a small connection for me there, 2 degrees of separation maybe. So yeah, congratulations to Marquette as well on that run. So it'll be exciting to see Marquette probably in a 5 seed, and maybe the Badgers. If the Badgers made a 12 seed and those two ran into each other, all bets are off. One of my favorite games was I went with my dad twice to Marquette, Wisconsin game. One time at the Bradley Center, one time at the old field house. And they were both great games. So that's kind of near and dear to my heart when I talk about those two teams. Now, we're going to go on to the Facebook things going on. I had a buddy of mine call me up, Mr. Kevin, and he called me up and said, "Hey, man, can you look for an SUV for me under $2,000?" It's like, okay, so I'll share this with you guys. I went out there on Facebook, and I went to the marketplace right here. And I started looking, and I typed in SUV for sale and put $2,000, and what started coming up by my house and stuff. And we started trying to see what was too good to be true, right? Now, I started thinking to myself, well, how am I, I really should show people that you can tell when there's either a scam or something too close. And I'm not even looking for, ethnicity or issues like that. It just comes down to with, somebody say from Milwaukee who's on the lower east side or something. The question is, how long do you want to sit and do a deal on that part of town? Maybe more than anything. And that's why usually we believe there's scammers or people who are hard to communicate what they want or what they're actually doing here. And if they're skirting around the bush, there's too many distractions going on and too many difficult things to deal with, including your own life, to want to stay there long. So that's, if it's a red flag for you, great. If you feel you can handle, not worrying about what the neighborhood's like or whatever like that, and you can handle getting a deal done, there's probably deals out there to be had in those parts of major cities. But, as I look, I started seeing the red flags that kind of made it more apparent that maybe you didn't know or didn't try to look for. And one of them I was looking at as you go. Sometimes you'll find the small towns on here and you'll go, really? So I've got like Oxford right here. I know where that is. It's a little bitty town. And I just saw right here Grand Marsh. I mean, talk about little bitty. So you're proving that they're in Grand Marsh. Now this with a camper and some trees. Okay, I don't hate that one. And then you usually want to go and look right here at who's selling it. And they are a member of the Friendship Buy and Sell, so they're a member of that trade. But this one, a little different. I mean, they're in Neenah, which is east side of the state compared to central Wisconsin. So that's kind of a different one. If this person lives there, why are they selling this car over in Grand Marsh? So now you're going to question where the car is actually being sold, right? So right away, you kind of want to find out where is this car actually located, and then they'll give you the story the next level if they're truly helping somebody, or so your communication is going to go a little ways. Now if you're not willing to sit there and mess around with messaging, that might be a red flag for you. But the good news is this person's been on Facebook for 10 years, so they're around, right? So now I'm not as scared. If I feel any more questions, I'd click on and maybe look at their page if it's allowed. So right off the bat, my first thing is it's an older car. Obviously a red flag is going to be, over, 26 years old now. So 26 years old, it's sitting in water, right? So right away, I don't consider this the best presentation. Another one, I mean, it works though. They're giving you every great angle on this thing. It's probably sitting there. It's well cleaned, not a lot of rust for a 26-year-old car, but I do see some stuff right there, right? And you're like, yeah, that's not something you're going to fix on one of these. And then what? The other number one on a Blazer, folks, it rolls over. That was their big danger in those eras of the Blazer. So there's your questions right there. What do you want with this? It's most likely a V6 like the Ford 2 is what that looks like. If you can get that high on the highway, it's probably a V6. Now, what I'm looking here too is there's not runs and drives great. So, might take a chance if you're looking for that kind of truck. Awesome, right? That one I might call the guy, message the guy, see what's going on. And those are the things I would ask him, knowing where Grand Marsh is, right? So now I was scrolling down, and my buddy likes Jeeps. So I was going to start looking at Jeeps and stuff. And I was like, look at this one in Rapids, which I kind of liked. Red flag, 4-wheel drive, small wheel, big wheel, transmission issues. Now, it says strong engine and transmission, some runs and dings. This guy probably took care of it. But, if this guy was running this in 2-wheel drive, then he's probably fine. But when you have 2 different size tires, you're driving the differential hard when you put it in 4 wheels. So there's the question mark there. They probably took care of it. Some young guy, I'll go here. It's looking like an older guy that's selling it, though. So you look at a car that says Decepticons and has Transformers on it, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm a little questioned that this guy. So now I'm going to look and see if I'm looking at the wrong guy, right? So this guy's from Hinsdale Central High School. He's from Chicago, and I'm looking at this stuff, and you're kind of like, okay, there's some reality to his posts and stuff. So I mean, there's not much to his information. If you're willing to message the guy to see how he responds, is probably the way to do it. Maybe he's selling this because this was a family member's car that he just didn't want to deal with, right? and that could be, but see, now here you go. So who's selling it? Dan Williams? No. Call Todd for info. So now you got a third party in this. So either he's helping them out to help them get it on Facebook. You know, it's probably a steal of a car. But again, my red flags would be this right there, the size of the tires. And then as I look around, your next one is no plate, so it's been sitting. Okay. It's probably been sitting. Windshield wiper on the back is toast. Front end looks great. And that's all they give you. There's no engine pictures. So for a strong engine and transmission, you're taking their word for it. But my red flag is this. They're not showing you the engine, and they've got two different size wheels on a four-wheel drive. So there you go. Your red flags to look for if you're wondering if a vehicle is going to be any good just from the surface. That's one of them for me. Now, as I go down and look, this guy's showing you the engine of his Buick LeSabre. Okay, know how to bonify your product. If this guy's out there and he's selling you a Buick, it is a LeSabre. Why is it listed under SUV? It even says sedan right here, right? So, you know, if you're looking for a car, jump on it, I guess. But, you know, you obviously came in here looking for an SUV, so we're going to look away from that. Now, as I go a bit more, what you're going to find, we find the 1, 2, 3s. You know, they want to be seen first. They want to be seen under $1,500. And now we have to figure out who they really are. We go in, we see this is a car for parts. Tyler's selling it, but it just says parts only. Let me know what you need. It's been parked. It's got great outside parts. Doesn't really give you any details otherwise. Now let's look at what he's got for shots. So the outside looks great. Why not save this car? And to me, if you're not showing the engine, did you give up the engine already, or did you blow the engine? There's no history to that. So if I want engine parts, are you going to tell me on the message? I guess. It seems like a lot of work, but it's there. So typically when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, it may be parts. Yep. See, so here's a part out. So when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, they're usually part outs in a lot of cases. If they're not, they're trying to get your attention. If they're not part outs, they'll tell you what it is in the description, right? So now I go down, I'm looking for more, and I'm looking for those deals. I'm looking for a steal. Here we go. Let's see. What was one I found in here? You know, like there's Hancock. Here's your red flag, folks. What's your red flag? Anybody see it? Anybody see it? Yeah. What's wrong with that spring? Oh, there you go. See, so an obvious point out. This guy wants $1,200. Whole or parts car, no engine and tranny. He wants $1,200 for this raw body and bad suspension. Oh, look at that front end is pretty much gone. I mean, if you really, really, really wanted an X5, I guess, but I think it's funny that they put X5 4.6. There's no engine. What does it matter what engine was in it? I mean, I guess if you're looking for odds and ends parts that fit a 406 or 4.6, those frustrate me. So then I go through and I'm looking for the whole car and a decent SUV. And so I've seen Neilsville like 3-4 times now, right? So I'm going to click in here. Guy wants $2,000 for this. Well, it's a 2-door. My buddy's got a family. This is old. It says needs battery and alternator. Everything besides the U-joints were replaced. It's got a 4.5-inch lift kit. Clean title. So that's good. I mean, if you're looking for a beater with a heater, this guy's probably pretty cool. If it's a younger dude, I'd be okay with the Facebook join in 2019. And it looks like he likes to, beef up his trucks with high rise and all that stuff too. So, I mean, this is probably a fun teenager's truck to go have a good time. Then if that's what you're looking for, bang. I trust that kid. I'd go in and talk to him about it. And to me, right? So now I keep going and I'm looking and I see Amherst Junction, another small town. New Lisbon. I have to tell you, New Lisbon is a scary one. I just bought something from New Lisbon. Thank God it worked. But the guy I got it from literally took a trade for what I have. And then I literally saw the next day that thing online for money. So he was okay with the trade with his other item. And then he basically took a money loss by asking for less with the item I gave him. So I was kind of shocked about that. So this one, what does he describe? Does not run. Yeah. So we have a mutual friend, and he does go in the Toma sales. So, I mean, if you need something and you need something from this vehicle, probably get some rims, a front end. Yeah, I mean, this one being gone must be being borrowed on another vehicle. So you're not going to get a set of 4. You'll get a nice hatch or something if you broke something on your hatch. So yeah, I this guy doesn't scare me or get me worried. So you're good there. And I guess I just want to get to that one that really just kind of eats you up, right? I'll keep scrolling. We'll find something is going to hit me. But I like my Trailblazers. This one's in red granite. I like the Envoys of a certain style too. This one's the short body, red flag, missing a grill, right? So if I'm just going to look at it from face value and $2,000 and 21 years old, 21-year-old vehicle, it's missing a grill and you want $2,000. Now, maybe because it's 4-wheel drive and it's the economy, okay. The more I look at this, there's no engine that's able to be seen. So I'm going to look at motor is going out, still runs, needs to be trailered. New transmission, cost $3,400 for it. And put in, got to get rid of it. So it's been sitting in this guy's what looks like apartment complex. He needs to get rid of it. The way he described this, he's desperate to get rid of it, but let's see why. Young guy? Young kid. Join Facebook. Yeah, so it's a young one. But now there's 3 other items here. Same kid selling that item. Maybe it's a guy. Maybe that's his son on the faceplate. But I see pretty nice motorcycle that he's selling too. Is this the same guy? Sure is. So now, getting rid of a bunch of stuff. The motorcycle's in nice shape, and he can roll that wherever he needs to. So, if I was looking for a motorcycle, I'd probably go buy that motorcycle from him. But the trucks are interesting to me that he's got to get rid of them. And it sounds like he bought something quick. But this, to me, is seems to be a high price for that, for just parts and stuff. So, yeah. So there you go. I mean, now it's nitty gritty stuff, right? It's a young guy selling. What does he know? What is he going to give away? Probably nothing. He's a motivated seller. This one's fun. Acadia Parts Car. This is one of those moments when you're looking at this, you're going, that's it? You gave me a stock picture. If it's just a parts car, why can't I see it? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why am I not allowed to see that? So that's another one where you're kind of like, okay, I get it. I guess you call them, get a phone number and see if you can call them. So now we go all the way down to Waukegan. This was when it says free. Now, typically when they say free, it's again the same thing. Now, right away we're seeing Spanish words, Latin words. So it could be a Mexican guy down in near Chicago. They're out in a parking lot when they took the picture. You go around the vehicle. Now, what's wild is they were not ashamed to have their plates here. So, first thing you want to do is find out about those plates. If you can, find out about the plates if you can read them, which I can read that right there. So that would be one. They're looking to trade. The price is fixed at $3,800. So they wanted to be seen by it being free. And then they have driven 20,000 miles. Driven 20,000 miles by him. So now you don't even know the true mileage on the vehicle. So again, right off the bat, it's a year 2000. There's no way it was driven 20,000 miles and he's getting rid of it for even 3,800. If that's only 20,000 miles, this thing's worth over 10 grand. So to me, it's a high red flag all the way around, going all the way down to Waukegan to look for it. Forget it, right? Good. So we move on and we're looking down. Oh, I like these Denali Sports. Ettrick, Wisconsin. Ettrick. Okay. I'd have to look up where that is, right? Drives around it. Gives us the engine. Right there is a tire that's different. Car's a little dirty, but I had an exact version of this and love the interior on these. I'm not sure if they're trying to give you the mileage on the computer, giving you a view of the interior, which they didn't really spend a whole lot of time cleaning. But the engine sounds fairly decent at the beginning of the video. There's a little lifter noise. And so he gives you that right off the bat. The engine, everything. You look at it. Again, no plates, probably been sitting, or they pulled them off before they took the shots, one of the two. That rear wheel being changed out. You know, it's the short body. Little bit of rust on the door. So they were very kind in showing you everything. And Ettrick is kind of a little known town, right? Now, as you read it, sure enough, there's a misfire on number 7. Right. Now they're looking to trade for an LS or an F body parts. 6-speed transmission. So they want all this stuff for this vehicle, and maybe you figure out the miss. Now the miss could be a bad ground on the battery, has screwed up other things. Could be a spark plug is bad. Could be a spark wire is arcing. And it could be that a cylinder's bad. Now, with that lifter noise, that'll probably tell you that something's going on with one of the lifters. If you can get in there and deal with it, awesome, guys. I wouldn't, this being a 5.3, I wouldn't consider it dead, right? So, seems to be legit. Oh, I didn't do what I normally do, right? Yeah. I mean, he's a family guy, got friends. Looks like he's in motor cars a little bit, which would be interesting to me to say that, if he's friends with motor car guys. He's also on all of these sales things. So it's like he does this regularly. And when you go down here, you see he's got a bunch of these listings, it looks like. Ettrick. So he's getting rid of, so here's another one. Free Sierra wheels. Now, when I go in there, I'll bet you, looking to trade for something different. This guy seems to have a lot of stuff for sale. This one, let's see what he says here. Clean title, vehicles paid off, Sonoma cap. Just needs a good cleaning. Frame is bad. Yeah, just needs good cleaning, but the frame is bad. Ouch. Parked in a lot. So, this is probably stuff worked on at a garage, and this guy works for the garage. So you're just getting a lot of hemming and hawing to try and figure out what you really want out of this stuff. Don't know if I deal with it. So little things to look for, guys. I think there's more to go. You've been watching me at DAHL Media. This is What Are We Talking About? Jeff just wanted to say hi to you. Oh, do you still have it? Yes, you do. Good. So you're still here with me. Hi, guys. I'm going to take a little station break and let you know what's going on coming up. But we'll stick to more with the Facebook thing in just a bit.
So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Jeff?
That's right. If you like what you're watching, like and subscribe and hit that little button down there. We're going to get back to it. I'm Jeff. What are we talking about, Jeff? Just looking for your comments, too. If you guys got anything to say, if you see this later on, too, I'll try and get back to looking at the comments after we shoot. And I say we like there's a mouse in my pocket. And so, yeah, seeing scams on Facebook. So, yeah, we just looked up what we needed on here, right? We were looking at this, and I want to blow this up for you guys just a little bit. There we go. Now, I'm going to go back over here. We're going to roll a couple more of these. So as you're looking, you're going to get farther away from your town. This one, $980. Aftermarket wheels, probably gappers to pop those wheels out to the edge. I've got a Compass. It's very similar to these Jeep Patriots, right? And this does have the 2.4 like my Compass. It says everything turns on, but won't turn over or anything. Has nice wheels and tires, 1-inch spacers. See, there's the good guess right off the bat from the picture. Needs rear struts, has rust. Drove just fine before this happened. Has aftermarket radio, has wheel lights and light bar. So I'm not sure if this particular Jeep needed a light bar. You're not going anywhere where that thing needs a light bar. But this guy obviously does, or girl, excuse me, does that kind of thing. Now, this one right there, what do you see, guys? What's your red flag? What's your red flag? Anyone? Change in hatch. Right there. That's a different hatch. Okay, so they changed out to a different hatch. If I look at that, I don't know if you guys can see this. I wish I could. I'm gonna see if I can blow this up for you. Nope, I can't. It's gonna stay the same size no matter how I look at it. Hang on. Let me take this guy out of. Can I do that? Can I put it in its own tab? Yes. Yes. I gotta see this. Yes. If you guys get a chance to see this. Yeah. You guys see this, right? So they took. Oh my God. I support single moms. I don't drive a Jeep. I pee. You can't make this up, folks. All right. So there you go. I'm going to share that with you. You guys, yeah, hang on. Yeah. I got to share this with you guys. You probably can't see that from here, but I'm going to stop sharing this one. I got to show you. Little closer view, everybody. Yes, that's right. Wow, man. Yeah. So they changed out the hatch, and of course they had a little fun with the Jeep logo. We support single moms. I don't know. Yeah, winner chicken dinner. There you go. So do you want to buy from this guy is now your question. So we go back more into it. We see that. Now, we haven't even delved to what we're going to see. So this is typically what I do when I go through that. The aftermarket radio, again, doesn't mean much if it doesn't run. I guess if it turns on, you can listen to the aftermarket radio in your driveway till the battery dies, but not really a useful vehicle. So I'm going to go around. Since that is a 2.4 liter, nice rims, probably will need new tires in a year. Kept somewhat clean. That's a good thing. I mean, the guy loves his car. Again, no shot of the engine. And he gives you the miles here in the corner, it looks like, or at least trip miles. Because there's not a whole lot of lights on. I can't imagine this thing didn't drive farther than that. It's way up in Bloomer. And who are we looking at here? Who are we looking at selling this car? Okay. Yeah. Joined Facebook in 2022. Also selling parts from I'm assuming it's a four-wheeler or a snowmobile. Looks like a four-wheeler being next to another four-wheeler. So, this guy likes to have his toys and have a little fun. But, if you want a decent Jeep and figure out why it's not running, I'm the type of guy that I bet you I could figure out why it's not running. But is it worth? I can tell you the 2.3 liters, there's danger signs all over YouTube about 2.4 liters. Because they're made by Fiat. They're not true Jeeps, so on and so forth. Now, really like this Jeep, so we started looking at this one. Just do the walk around as if you're in the driveway. Really clean. Really nice. Look at that. Trailer hitch. That can be a sign, too, if you're at 188,000 miles that they towed with this thing, and it could beat up the tranny a little bit. But how clean this is tells me they probably took care of it. They're obviously a Minnesota Wild fan. So they like their hockey. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I see a little something right here, right? A little something right there. It still looks okay under here. If it's protected, that looks okay. Engine, they're showing us an engine. It's the 4.7. Now, if I jumped right to the read, I could tell you it's a 4.7 in that way too, just because when I went to the read, it's under, it's like 16 miles per gallon. It's usually a V8 right off the bat. Anything under 20 for sure. And usually down to about 15, at max 17 combined. At this age, that's usually a V8. But it says needs some TLC. Engine sounded great. For someone mechanically inclined, this could be for you. Immediate known issues. This is nice. They pointed out. Transmission running on its last legs sometimes won't shift into drive, but it shifts into reverse just fine, and first and second. Why? Because they're belt drives. But brakes all around. So it needs brakes. Are they saying pads? Is it the discs are that bad? Did you run them down? If you're going to tell me about them, I'm going to look through the pictures again. Whoa. If you're going to tell me about them, let's run through the pictures again here. All right. We get to the engine. We get to the side. Get to that. Get to this. No pictures of the brakes, even though they're an issue. Okay. Minor issues. Hatch door won't open all the way. Glass does, though. So, okay, so you get a couple of new hatch shocks. That's fine. That'll work, right? And then you go crack along the bottom of the windshield, out of sight lines and not noticeable from outside. That's basically, if you're worried you have to replace your windshield because a cop's going to give you a warning, they probably won't see it. Okay. A small crack on the front of the bumper. The bumper gets hit. Rust on the front quarter panel and rocker panels. That's the ones we saw, but they did a nice job keeping them clean. Not worried about that necessarily. Small oil leak drips on oil exhaust manifold, but does use excessive oil. Or doesn't use excessive oil. So that's good. So meaning when you go for your oil change every 3,000 miles, you're down a half a quart. You're not out of the window of needing like a full quart every time you drive before an oil change or more. So that's good. And maybe if you're a home mechanic and you find where that leak is and you crank it down, maybe it's okay. Maybe the gasket's bad. And if it's just a valve cover gasket, a guy like me, I might dive in there and change the valve covers and then plug it all back in. So for me, that wouldn't scare me. They did such a good job taking the car. I'm liking this guy. As is, smart dude. Been here since 2008. I could almost go right here. I'm calling this guy. This is a champ vehicle to get a hold of. So if you're looking for a nice SUV to go and it's $2,000, ta-da! Now this guy likes music. This guy likes Craig Morgan and Billy Joel. And yeah, all right. He's in Mosinee. He's a hockey fan, obviously. Obviously, probably got kids in hockey or is a coach. Very cool. So yeah, no, this guy's a family man. Took care of his car and he's ready to move on from it. That thing probably runs and still drives kids to school, folks. Buy it. Champ. So now that, yes, I pitched that to Kevin. I don't know if he's going to get a hold of it, but I would pitch that to Kevin right now, right? So now I'm going in, Trailblazer. Okay, don't hate it. It's a little, vanilla. Interesting right here. They have a Tahoe rim. on the back corner. I don't think that's a traditional spare for this. It's sold, but let's go through it, right? Just got sold. 159,000 miles, pretty good for this age. 18 runs and drives, needs shocks. Okay. Selling to downsize. Cool. Okay, he likes his weekend warrior stuff. Yes, sir. All right. Well, he's a car guy. Probably knew how to take care of it and stuff, and use it to its capacity. Somebody's getting a decent little Trailblazer there. Probably not the greatest pictures, but again, not everybody on Facebook is a professional at it either. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm just having a blast kind of showing you what I do when I'm just bored. And this was just another thing. What are we talking about, Jeff? We're talking about looking at Facebook Marketplace and not getting ripped off. Pleasant Prairie was looking at this one, a Subaru Forester. Well, it's a Subaru. And I think this is the one that was interesting to me. Like, you look at it, my first red flag, seeing the first picture, first impression, right there. Why? So this Forester's jacked up, it looks like. And what that does is causes this angle arm to lean towards the car as it gets lower. So they probably added like a rise on this vehicle. So that's probably not a bent situation, but as a raised situation where this wheel is not centered after it's raised. So they didn't go for getting like an aftermarket control arm to center that wheel. And if they did, it would probably come back up into the wheel well wrong. So that is most likely not damage, but it's unthought of in the scheme of things. So you can see it's got a high ride to it, and Foresters typically were lower, so I feel like this one's got a lift kit in it for some reason. Also, the bumper right there, the difference in paint, the gap right here, this right here tells me this was probably replaced. I know it's the picture, but it looks like that hood might be different too. A little concerned about front end damage here. Could be wrong. But just that little gap change right here means the bumper's been hit, bumped, pushed out, something. I don't know if that's a reflection, but maybe that's the nick where it got hit. Just a thought. No plates, probably been sitting a little bit. Looks like it's on a lot with other cars, so maybe this is a garage getting rid of this. And as I look at it, here's something. Now look at this picture. Again, still the gap issue right here. You don't see it as much here, but now what I see, plates on it, nothing on the windshield. Here, it's got something on the windshield, no plates, and they took the whole bracket off. Huh. So this is just face value, guys. This must have been what it looked like when they drove it home. So it's already got a high rise in that shot. If that's the interior, very nice. To me, it looks dirty here and dirty here. How is that so perfect? And that's not. I feel like this was an earlier picture when they first bought it. I feel like this is a later picture when it's in the lot. Yeah, I mean, look, there it is now. It's got stickers on it, crap all over it. There's what looks like an aftermarket radio. Did I see that in the first one? Nope. So they put a faceplate radio over all of this. So this is either a stock picture or when they first bought it. Yeah, I mean, she's brown right here. She's got stains right there. It's a well-used truck at 180,000 miles. So, again, this picture, see now here the gap, it's got trim edging. Here it doesn't have trim edging. Whoa. Whoa, red flags galore. There's no trim edging on this vehicle. This vehicle has trim edging. They're showing you two different vehicles. This is brand new, beautiful, no trim edging. No gray trim edging. This is a different vehicle. This is a different vehicle. Is this two vehicles? I feel like I'm being spoofed here. So red flag, folks, right there. My God, that's two different vehicles. So now I'm going to go look. DAHL payment. Really? Really? So DAHL payment is the description. You give me down payment, I give you that car. Now, here's the next one. Does that guy look like he's been around? He's got 112 followers, 1,800 people. Strength as a seller, communication. He can't spell down payment on a text, and he's got a 1 for communication. That's his strength. Like Steven Seagal in System of the Down. He's got all these other listings. Is this a car salesman at a lot in Pleasant Prairie? And he's doing it on his personal page. What? Look at this. This is a scammer and a half, y'all. Look, he's got PSPs, Caracas, Bolivia. Oh, come on. Red flag all day. Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. And now he's in Pleasant Prairie selling Highline cars. This Forester for $700 scares the crap out of me. This guy should be found. Okay, I'm not even afraid. Like his mixed trading motivation. I'm okay. So he doesn't speak much English. Marketing digital. This guy, he thinks he's an entrepreneur, I guess, which is fine. But my God, okay, $700 for this car, 108,000 miles. Doesn't give you any details. I go around it. It's 3 different vehicles. I'm not sure. Maybe if this guy's legit, maybe he's showing you this is the actual car. This is what it models. That's the actual car on the lot. That's what it used to look like or could look like. That's what it looked like brand new. This is what it looks like now. Is it a before and after kind of a thing? I don't know, but again, plates on this one, different rims, same rims, different trim, right? And this looks like you wouldn't have that trim on this trim underneath. Yeah, that bumper's flush, perfect right here. That's a different car. There's 3 different cars. That one's not flush. That one's got different rims and cleaned up and got a plate on the front of it. Yeah, that's just a new interior from a different car. Well, they're split. It's the black and the gray, just bad picture compared to the first one. Oh, God, this guy would frustrate the hell out of me. That guy needs to be looked into. Nice. Thanks, man. Right in the middle of my episode. Appreciate it, Brian. So, we'll probably get that popping up today. So anyway, here's another 1, 2, 3, 4 in Chile, Wisconsin. Little town of Chile, Wisconsin. Truly out there in the country. So I guess it can be believable. The rims are aftermarket. The Brake lights are aftermarket. The headlights and the grill are aftermarket. Yeah. All right. So full part out. Everything is good, but car does not run due to security problem. Everything is available. Message with what you need. Okay, so he's from Marshfield, so not far off. Young one, everybody. But has many strengths, 7 ratings that give him higher marks, and most everything he's selling is out of Chile. So, depends on the value, folks. Depends on what you need, I guess. But it's a junk seller. He's moving stuff for money. Not bad. Now we're back here. This is back up again. Huh. So here's another new Lisbon. Let's go right away over here. Had a new transmission in it, less than 30,000, runs and drives good. I don't know. Yeah, all right. Let's take a look at who we got here. Lives in Plainfield. Okay, so all of his parts are pretty consistent, similar vehicles. He's what I see here, though, here's a red flag for you. He's got it posted twice. Is that the same vehicle? Oh, okay. So he was looking for auto mechanics to fix his truck. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So this is a person who just decided I'm going to sell it one day. He's going after catalytic converters. He's going to part the thing out, try and make money on it. Selling a lot of stuff. Plainfield, Friendship. Yeah, I mean, bona fide seller. Again, depends on what you want and what you're willing to deal with. Another new Lisbon here. Firm on price, runs great. Only thing he needs is a rear differential. Drive shaft is out, so you can move it with 4-wheel drive. I got to tell you, that's dangerous, everybody, but if you just got to get it on the trailer, I guess it works. Come get it today. Lots of new parts. Second owner. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would work. It's a little work to get that thing out of there, but it would work. So, yeah, I haven't, run into... I mean, you saw the big scam down in Waukegan, and, it kind of fit a bunch of, hard-pressed bills. So if I'm going to look at this one, here's an Envoy Sport. Utility. Jacked up somehow. 245,000 miles. Interior's clean. They only give you that side of the vehicle. They don't take a picture on the other side of the vehicle. What's the deal? It's a V8. Again, most likely the 5.3. I have for sale. Mechanic told me that it was a fuel pump. The fuel pump went out and the vehicle has to be trailered. 1,200. If the fuel pump's in the tank, I guess it'd be too hard, but yeah. So usually the fuel pumps are in the gas tank, and that's what makes it so difficult to deal with. But buy a new tank with the fuel pump in it. $300-400. Drop the bolts, put the tank in. If it drives, you're good, right? 1,200. I don't hate it. Don't see this necessarily being a scam, but how much work do you want to do? Yeah, no, he's older guy. Okay, he's had it a while. This being jacked up like this, I'd like to know why. That's my only thing. So when I get there, I'm looking at it, really scrutinizing the heck out of it. So again, here's an Envoy, $715. Okay, let's do the walk around. Okay, it looks good, but it's on a trailer. You're at a gas station on a trailer. That's all you give me. Car looks beautiful. Cool. So 5.3. Okay. Parting out will not sell whole. What, $715 for what? Each part? Oh, dude does this a lot. Buying vehicle. Okay, so this guy is rotating vehicles to make money. Okay. Folks, I just want to toss this out there. Don't know who this guy is, and I'll take him off my screen. But I can tell you right now, if he sells more than 6 cars a year and doesn't have a dealer's license, he's illegal. So in Wisconsin, you cannot sell more than 6 cars without a dealer's license. If this guy's buying and selling lean cars for the lean price, which was probably $715 on that truck, and then he's going to part it out to make a bunch of cash, he's not selling a whole car, right? But now he's become a parts store. He's a retail. So he's tearing these cars apart. He can't sell them whole, because if he sells 6 cars whole, it'll be illegal. So in order to move 6 cars to make money on it, he's got to part them all out. So if you're looking for parts, find that guy. Right? I guess if you're looking for parts, but you can kind of see, if you could get it running, whatever. I get it. You get more money from parts, catalytics, all that stuff. It's a tough way to live, gotta tell you. To me, I'm the traditionalist that likes to revive these daggum things. Here's one. Subaru Forester. Yet another one. Now, you notice how it's not jacked up in the air. It's a little older. Okay, so now we go like this. It's 218,000 miles, and the rust shows it. It's not all the way through yet, but, Okay. Yes, got to point out that, these Subarus came with Enkis. It's not like it's a special rim, but it's made by an expensive company. Got a sunroof. Pros and cons. Okay. It's a nice note list. Now, it's probably got a 4-cylinder in it. Since, as I go through it, I don't see a picture of an engine. One thing, I had a buddy of mine, guys. I had a buddy of mine who bought a car from a dealership, never opened the hood. 2 weeks later, he calls me up and goes, "Dude, I'm going to sue the dealership for lemon rights, man. They sold me a lemon." And I said, what kind of engine has it got in it? He goes, "I don't know." I went, "What? Has it got a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder?" He goes, "I don't know." So what do you mean? You took it for a test drive, right? Yeah. I said, "You opened the hood and looked underneath, didn't you?" "No. Car ran. I didn't need to look." Like, you can't sue him for a lemon law for stupidity. Anytime, the first rule you're going to find when you buy a car, folks, look under the dang hood. And I don't even mean to know what engine it is. But if you're worried about a used car, you should be worried. Number one, doesn't matter how many miles are on it, what's going on with it. That engine has been driven and somebody got rid of it for a reason. Now, dang well check if you're even leaking fluids. If it looks dirty as all get out and there's sticky stuff everywhere that has a little gleam and shine to it, you're leaking fluids everywhere. It's probably a red flag. You open the hood, you will get that right off the bat. If it's been parked a while and they're lying to you because they showed it to you in a parking lot. If there's leaves in the vents when you open the hood, come on, hints everywhere, folks. You don't want cars like that, then don't buy them. But if you're going to sit there and buy a car and not even tell me what engine it's in it, and as simple as 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, anything like that, 3-cylinder, 5-cylinder. Yes, those are out there for those folks that don't know that a whole lot about cars. There's Geo Metros with 3 cylinders, and there's Volvos with 5 cylinders, and there's Hummers with 5 cylinders. So, yes, not impossible. Certainly confuses a mathematic guy who likes things even, but whatever. So I'm looking at this. It says engine swap done by previous owner. Bing! How can you tell just from the pictures? Well, this. The wheels first. Okay? You look at the wheels and you're looking at these pictures. And the fact that he pointed out that these are Enkeis tells me that this guy was going the extra mile to, these are Enkei rims. But what got me is I watched a whole series on Donut, you guys. I watched a whole series on Donut Media where they did a high-low car. Now, that explanation, if you really care to want it, that whole explanation was they bought two WRX, I think they were 2005s, something like that, or 2015s. And they, put low, not quality, but low money parts on one and high money parts on the other to see which one was better. You can watch this at Donut Media. And love the guys. Awesome series. A lot of Subaru guys hated them after this series because they blew up a bunch of cars. And they were pushing them to the limit. Let's face it. Subaru's decent for anybody who's, taking their kids to school and going and getting groceries, all that great stuff. That is definitely, you know what, guys? Got to tell you this. If you like what you're watching, you're getting enough meat out of this, like and subscribe right down there. I'll even give you the way to jump on it.
So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Jeff?
Dang.
Oh, you guys got me ranting on something I really like, so I'm just going to stay on with you and keep going. So hopefully you guys jump on and check this out later for the fun of it. At the beginning of the show, we had Alyssia Dominguez on there, the wonderful, the beautiful, and great sounding Alyssia Dominguez, and their song Out of the Blue. So really good. Check her out. I'll toss that right there so you can see it. She's online. You just toss her name in the search engine. You'll find a whole lot of information on Google right off the bat. Again, one more happy birthday to Mr. Angelo and Sarah Bovey. Things we were talking about. Badgers being 8-11 in the conference and possibly out of the tournament is scary, but they make little waves. They might stay on the edge. All right, so that's kind of a rundown of that. I'm playing tonight out at JR Saloon in Polonia. Come see me there. And the news of the Bucks being 16-0. Port Edwards kids playing tonight at 7 against Edgar for in the playoff tournament. And, of course, Wisconsin Rapids getting a new set of companies going into the old Shopko building. So pretty cool. Wanted to make a big shout out to places and venues. I'm wearing my Hooterville station right there. That's right. I had a chance to play there. I call it places and venues now, folks. Places and venues meaning, I said this earlier, and I'm going to stand by it. If I got to move a chair, you're not a venue. But I don't think Hooterville necessarily has to claim themselves as a venue, but as a place to have a fun time. So I digress to say that, I'm still going to play a place where I got to move a chair, but it's a place. It's a place to go hang out, but it's not a venue if you're talking about bands, music. I'm not going to look at it like some place that, if they become that, yeah, I know they had a recent fire and they're recovering like crazy, and it was so great to be there. It's an intimate crowd, and we had a fun time, and they were nice enough to give me this awesome t-shirt. I really like it. It's soft. It's a sweat style t-shirt. If I wanted to play softball for them, I could. And I got a work shirt they gave me too, a button-up work shirt. It was really cool. It's my favorite color, baby blue. Love it. So Hooterville Station out there in Wisconsin, we're talking to you. Hi, guys. Love you to death. And we'll be back there, as a matter for Hootfest. Hootfest. It says Hooterville, it looks like, right? But no, it's Hootfest on July 29th. So come out, see me out there. You might have a whole lot of fun, because I know I will. All right. So glad to see that. We were on this thing of looking for Facebook scams, and we've caught a couple so far. So bang, there's my Facebook setup right here that we were looking at. Now this one, we were talking about the WRX car for a reason. I saw this yesterday. I'm setting this up, and I was kind of blown away. It says engine swap was done by previous owner, so I do not have the paperwork. Put a lot of money into it. in the last month and just getting it, the oil leaks, I think the head gasket blew. Would need to be trailered. The head gasket blew and he wants $3,800. No way. I don't care if it was swapped. What we found out about this car is, I believe this might be double posted. Okay. The other thing too, red flag. Oh, no picture. Nowhere from. 4 friends. Somebody who just needs a car moved, I think. Right? This guy probably doesn't do this that often. Just needs a car moved, whatever. But this car was swapped. And I believe I read somewhere the engine was swapped. It was a WRX engine. So I think this was posted more than once. And they put a WRX in a Forester, and you're like, oh, goodness. You know, what does that mean? Well, they were looking for performance. The WRXs were known for performance. And so they wanted to push the envelope. They put the Yankee rims on it, widened out the base so they could push the envelope on this thing. Well, probably why your head gasket blew is because you bought a car that somebody was racing around everywhere and beating on it because they wanted to. You saw it look kind of cool, and it's a Subaru. Should be great for driving around everywhere, and realized you had oil leaks like crazy because it's a Subaru, and found out the engine was from a completely different car that probably doesn't, it probably has the same undertones of what goes in that Forester, but holy crap. Like, I think you got taken. So I feel bad for you, but again, you follow this in the red flags. Engine swap for beating on a car. Right? There's your red flag. So as I come back around, it keeps coming back to the same cars sometimes as you keep pushing through, but you'll get new ones. Now, again, if I got to go to Rockford, Illinois, you might, I'd question that. Dodge Caliber, probably another 2.4. So this was just looking for SUVs in general, right? So, hey, 4Runner from its era, let's take a look at that. Driven 20,000 miles. Didn't we just run into this with another 4Runner? A white one in a parking lot? Now, this one is Fall River, small town outside of Columbus. So let's look at the pictures, go around. Okay, it looks like they're in a trailer park. Could be in Fall River. Okay. Same shot. Cropped and blown up. First red flag, no engine. This is most likely a V8 in that thing, at least by this standard. This is most likely a V8. Let's see what they say. Needs new motor. Other than that, everything works good. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I try to run from the idea of bias. Now, this person has a hat. That's probably him right on the front. He's got shipped to you products. He's got an organ. The good news is he's coming. It shows that most everything he's selling is in Fall River except this. Huh. Probably makes his money on here. Is he truly from Fall River? Now, okay, so here's the deal. He shows everything out of Fall River. He may be in Fall River. I'm not going to doubt that. The wild thing for me is this. He ended up in Fall River, and he's selling products to make a living. That makes sense. Driven 20,000 miles. That seems very common that happened twice. I want to know the full mileage. I don't care if there's a V8 under the engine and it's a 26-year-old vehicle. I still want to know the miles on the body, right? Not how many you drove. So I guess to me, if you're not going to disclose, I'm going to ask. And if you're going to be annoyed by me asking, well, then I probably won't buy the car. So I keep going and keep looking. Crandon, cool. Trailblazer, decent shape. Brake dust dirt around the rim. So the front brakes have been ridden hard. No plates, has been sitting. Very clean. Very nice looking. If you're trying to give me mileage, which it does say 244, 531, if I look real close, I guess I can believe that. Yeah. It's got a brake light on. And the picture's blurry, so I can't tell if that's a brake light on or... Oh, it's airbag light. Thank you. Thank you for focusing in on that. Also, how did you brake this? How did you brake your speedometer? So, okay. I mean, they showed you that there's an airbag light. That's usually a computer, guys. That's usually something in the computer being stupid. But they don't show, again, they don't show you an engine at 244,000 miles. If it's really nice. Oh, it's a 4.2. Okay, well maintained, good tires, typical Wisconsin rust, which is right there. Yeah. Front differential starting to make noise. So is front shaft. Ooh, gosh. Front diff started making noise. Front shaft was removed. So there's a four-wheel drive that's now a two-wheel drive. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Wow. So Denise is selling all these vehicles? I think what you're going to find here, folks, is somebody else is selling these vehicles through Denise's site. I mean, if Denise has all of these, great. Wow. She goes through vehicles and doesn't sell them. I don't know, but again, I'm probably not going to buy it. Probably not going to go look at it. Nothing. Now, saw this. I have one of these, and I know what to deal with on it. It's got similar rust to what mine's got. Oh, sorry, guys. So lazy, and I'm looking at this. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, it's in good shape. Nice ride height. Ooh, the hatch is nice and clean right here. Mine actually has a little rust right there. Same rust here. What's the first red flag? Everybody looking around the car. Bing, bing, bing. It's been hit in the back corner right here. That bumper's got a kink in it right there. You can see it through the reflection and everything. And this light was replaced because there's no way you can dent that body without breaking the light behind it. So this light has been replaced. So it's been in an accident. We can say number one. Been in an accident. Another way you can kind of tell too, it's very subtle, but the wrap around the light right here compared to the wrap around of the light right here is a little questionable. So, I mean, it got nicked in the back, smacked a light, probably didn't change the frame, didn't screw anything up, and they cleaned it up really nice. They have the same stick-on holder that I had. Love that thing. Yeah, I mean, it's good, clean. Oh, engine light. Dun, dun, dun. Engine light. And low tire light, which, okay, I can tell you right now, I have same engine light, same low tire light. So me knowing this, my engine light is an intake. Okay. What we're going to find here is it's not the intake. The guy says it's a transmission light. If you got a code for a transmission, I'll be shocked. But the low tire light can actually be a wheel bearing. So when you go and look at this, what you'll find is the tires look great on this thing, right? The tires look great. Here, we'll go back around again. Tires look really good. So I'm not necessarily worried about a low tire here. What I ran into is I believe my driver's side front wheel has a good grind going on it. And what we find with wheel bearings right here is this wheel bearing is most likely going, and the rust inside of the wheel bearing is causing the anti-lock brake sensor to sense a slow wheel, right? It's got dust in the way. Usually an anti-lock brake light would come on, but what we find is low tire lights are actually driven by the spindle and the sensors for the all-wheel drive. For slippage and stuff like that is all driven by the anti-lock brake sensor. And what it's discovering is one wheel. So it realizes it's not a true slippage. And then it's so much rust that it thinks the wheel is slowing down because it's shaking away from the sensor. So then it thinks it's a flat tire. So, probably needs a wheel bearing, and it's got an engine issue. 2.4 liters, I warned you folks. This is just under my mileage. Now, as we go down here and read, it is a 2.4 liter all-wheel drive. Technically, it's a true four-wheel drive. And power steering, power windows. They give you all the nice stuff, right? Does have an engine light for transmission. Now, I believe if that's true, there are, it's a 4-speed. No, it's a 5-speed. It's a 5-speed transmission, and what happens is the solenoids that kick the hydraulics through, when you're trying to shift, it doesn't kick out to push the hydraulics through, so it doesn't want to shift properly. And if that's true, then it's got to be the solenoid. If you got a light for a transmission, it's got to be something electrical. It's not going to know something mechanical. It will only set off a light because something electrical discovered it, right? So typically it's because one of those solenoids is not kicking in to shift the gear with hydraulic fluid. Now, what I ran into, and most of that you run into with these 2.4 liters, is the intake on these are screwed up. The intake on these have a cell on the front of them that's 4 of the intakes, and each individual one of those has an air intake. This is for you mechanics out there, okay? And it's connected to one rod, so they all turn together like you're on a rotisserie and a turkey, okay? But they all open together. They're not individuals, so that means they open when they open. And there's a sensor on the end of the motor that runs it. So that thing opens, lets air in. When the engine needs more air, it opens more. It stays closed for cold to not allow the cold air to not let it fire. But, it's a choke, basically, right? In some way, shape, or form. What most cars do in this era, what most every car has ever done, okay, what most every car has ever done is they use one intake with a mass airflow, and they have a sensor on that. And it's usually one in a tube. This one has 4 individual ones actually up in the intake going to each cylinder, which seems like, wow, really cool. But it's not like they're individual that a computer runs them and tilts them to give each cylinder what it needs. It's not that fancy, right? It's still one damn shaft going all the way through, 4 of these little plates inside of plastic, inside of more bearings, inside of more stuff. So what happens is dirt gets on them. The intake takes in dirt and then lays it on the bearings of that little roller, and it doesn't want to open, or it grinds when it opens. So then the sensor goes, oh, just like the tire, just like the analog brake sensor on the wheel bearing when it's rusted. Same thing. If it gets rusted over here, it does the same thing. And so it may open just fine, let air in just fine, but if it grinds a little bit, it sets off the sensor. So you got to take a $168 part off and put a whole new one on that's buried in the front of your engine. You got to take the radiator out to get to it. Dang it. A lot of work. Well, mine has been skipping as it takes off. Maybe mine's a transmission too, but when I looked at my codes, it was that sensor in front. Could it be that if I'm having issues with gears or hydraulics in my transmission, that it's setting off the electrical in the air intake because the air intake is feeling the engine stop and start, wants to tilt it open and then floods the engine out, so it causes it to jerk, and then it takes off? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but maybe it's the transmission setting the engine off because it keeps triggering it and not wanting to shift. What I started discovering is when it had the question to shift, when the car was getting up there in the gear and it wanted to shift, you'd feel the jerk, jerk, jerk. And then it would, if you gave it enough gas, it would kick down into the next gear. So whatever it is most likely a transmission issue, not an intake issue. But it's been known that the intake has been a problem on it. My concern is, I'll bet you money I have to check the transmission fluid and I have a leak. And sure enough, I went under my car, fixed the control arm with my brother-in-law, Joe, you rock. And as I was fixing my control arm, I decided to do my oil. I decided to change my oil out. We're going to take that away now. So this is, what are we talking about? Now we're talking about a 2.4 liter Jeep, everybody. That's right. Oh, let's take a break from all that and just say where you are. You're watching DAHL Media.
So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Jeff?
Dang.
That's right. Like and subscribe right now at DAHL Media. Get on there on YouTube and then, hit the little bell to be announced when we're coming out there. You can do that also on Facebook. They have something similar where you follow us, and you can also make it a priority for us to be found every time, especially when we go live. That's what I'm doing with this show. What are we talking about, Jeff? Well, we got to talking about my car. It's a Jeep. It's a 2.4 liter for some of you gearheads. Earlier on in the show, we had Alyssia Dominguez is out of the blue. Check her out. Of course, we said happy birthday to some friends out there, Mr. Angelo and Sarah Bovey. And we were also talking about the Badgers and are they in the bubble? Are they not? The Bucks going 16-0 and killing it. And Port Edwards boys playing against Edgar. That's just a school where my daughter goes and my kids go. Their boys are in the playoffs in the second round and playing Edgar tonight at 7 p.m. So very successful there. Shout out to Hooterville Station outside of Kewanee and Algoma area over by Lake Michigan. Yeah. Very cool. Just played a show there, so shout out to them. Shout out to my buddy Kevin as we started talking about Facebook and looking out for scammers when you're just buying a car. So we were just coming up with little details of it. It started turning into how you buy a car. Then it started turning into cars that had the same engine that I have. And we were talking about this particular Jeep Compass 2.4 liter. It's also in the Patriot. It's a Fiat engine. It's an Italian engine. And it was an economy engine. Honestly, it's a nimble little son of a gun. I drive it. I don't hate it. So we started talking about what I was dealing with in my car on this engine. And we were talking about the intake and then a transmission issue. Now, this person that has this particular vehicle pointed out that their light was for a transmission, and I'm shocked because typically you don't get transmission lights. Usually it's an engine light. Most of your stuff does not go that deep into the transmission except for something that electronically fires, which would be the solenoids for each gear. And what I mean by that is it's a little thing that goes right? It literally just goes in and out like this to cover a little hole that lets hydraulic fluid through. And when it opens up, it lets the hydraulic fluid through, changes that gear. So while the other one's shut, that one's open. And then when you shift gears, that one closes and another one opens. And it's just a little push out like that. And it goes back, pushes out, comes back. You got that? No. Sorry. So when that happens, right, some of these electronically don't want to run properly if they got a little grime in them, which you hope it doesn't. But if it got a little something in it, it's not firing like it's supposed to. The electronics went bad and it's just going halfway out. Another one is when you pass, it's called a kickdown gear in the old days, right? Well, with this, the computer tells it, hey, open this one up, open that one up. We got to kick down and get back down to like second gear from fifth, right? So it'll shut that one and open second right away because it feels your acceleration difference. And when it's trying to question when to do that, when you get to a certain point and it's still on the edge of maybe it thinks it doesn't need to shift yet, when it wants to shift, what's happening is it's glitching and trying to trigger the other one open. And so you get this jerk in your car and it's going right. What that does is make the engine think, hey, something's going on here. It needs more oxygen. So then it opens up the MAF sensor up front, or those oxygen bays, and allows air to come in a little bit more to feed the engine. And when it does that, it finally gives this thing enough pressure to say, okay, I'm open, bam, and it allows it to go. And if it's an electronic glitch, it sucks. But I think it's a mechanical glitch if it's reading at the edge and it's trying to shift at a certain point. So I started discovering it only happened on like one gear. So I'm thinking it's always on that one gear when I try to accelerate and I get up to the point of it wanting to shift and it goes, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. That can be triggered by low fluid too. Let's say it opened, but there's air in the lines. And so it causes the fluid to not quite get to the gear. So it won't shift yet. Then when you kick it down and the fluid's spinning, what fluid is in there squirts in and changes the gear. So, I mean, you have all these possibilities that can be electronic or mechanical. The thing I don't want to do is chew up the gears because of the shift. So accelerating and, hopefully I'm not dropping a bomb on the gear and shattering and having metal pieces everywhere. All that being said, I went and had a control arm or a lower ball joint that needed to be replaced. So I knew I was going to dig in underneath the engine. We took care of the whole control arm in order to do the ball joint because you can buy it with both together. Ball joint is the bottom edge of the wheel. It allows the tilt and stuff when you're steering and leaning and things of that nature. And it's just a multi-point roll so your wheel can kind of smoothly go through things. Well, I replaced that. It was a heck of a deal with my brother-in-law. He came over and helped me out. Needed a little strength, needed an extra tool. And he came and helped save the day with me, and we got it in, right? So I thought, well, while he was running to maybe check something out for me, I got underneath and said, I'm already under here. I'm going to change the oil. And these particular cars come with, hey, a skid plate. My car's cool. I got a Jeep. I got a skid plate. No, it's plastic. Hard enough to keep things from flying up into your engine, which is great, but it's plastic. Well, if I hadn't removed that, I wouldn't see what was going on. And so I don't have a whole huge oil leak, which is awesome. But somebody at one of the oil places says, yeah, you got an oil leak. And I was like, really? But I'm not losing oil. I'm not losing a bunch of transmission fluid, so they told me. But I realized that part of that was covered. How did they know? And they don't have to take that off that cover to get to my oil filter and to get to the oil bolt to take it out. For draining, the drain pan plug. So I take off this cover and I see fluid, but it's not near the engine. Nope, it's back in the transfer case in the four-wheel drive, which means it's coming, and it was coming from around the transfer case, but it wasn't up by the engine, so it's not oil. It's not oil coming out of the engine. It's wrapping over the transfer case, which, front end of a car. And then you put the transfer case on the back end of a tranny so that way it can send power to the other wheels for four-wheel drive. It's transferring the power not only from the front, but to the back. So this transfer case is on there. And I see that it's leaking between the transmission and the transfer case. And it's blowing under the transfer case. And it's somewhat clear. It's not necessarily brown. And it's not keeping a whole lot of dust like oil does, and it's not turning black like oil does over time. It's gritty, but it's not really the signs of oil. I don't have oil coming up on my hatch from oil blowing out of the engine, because what'll happen, folks, air travels underneath your car, and then it'll spit the oil back after, air kind of tumbles after it gets out from behind something. And usually when you see somebody with a bad oil leak, you'll see it splatter up the back of their hatch, and their hatch will be constantly dirty. I don't have that. So all this time, my jerking in the car had nothing to do with the air intake that the computer told me. It had everything to do with what's going on in the transmission. common problem here, it sounds like, because this guy selling on Facebook ran into the same thing. And if I go back to the other 2.4 liter cars, I was running into a lot of the same thing on here. So now you're getting savvy on what specific vehicle you might be looking for, something for your family that can haul around a few things, drive it a number of miles with great gas mileage. Well, my wife found me this Compass. I went online, a reputable guy that's kind of an excited YouTuber. You gotta go buy this car like that. You probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to give him away, but right away I went, oh, well, maybe this guy's got an opinion on the Compass. And the first thing it says is, do not buy. I was like, oh, no, my wife went and bought this car. What are we doing? And it had that jerk after the first month. That's right, first month when you're allowed to take it back on the sale because something's wrong with it and you're not happy with it. Well, that jerk didn't happen until after that first month, so I couldn't give the car back. But I knew if I babied it, did it right, kept the fluids up, so on and so forth. Well, I did the oil change, but did not check the transmission fluid. And the jerking got a little more prevalent. So I get the funny feeling when I did the oil change where they check your fluids and they fill all that stuff. They did it the last time. So then when I did my oil change to make sure I didn't get too high on mileage and things like that, I didn't check the transmission fluid. So you know what my job is today? Go outside, run the car, check the transmission fluid, and if it's low, fill it. And that'll probably at least solve some of the jerking issues I have in the car. That being said, this guy selling this car at such a great price, right? That's such a, I got mine for $12,000 and it was a 2014, right? So this one, I believe, is a 2011 with about the, pretty good miles for its age, but better than mine for mileage, or at least will be at once I get to that age. Once I get to 12 years, mine will have way too many because I drive 40,000 or more a year. So, but this one does have an engine light 4 transmission. They obviously drive it. They're leaving you room for $2,000 for a new transmission almost. If you really wanted to go through the trouble of like $2,500 or $3,000. They say it's $5,500 for this, or what was it, $3,500 for this vehicle? They went in here. They put a Blue Book estimate in here. Yeah, right there. So top end $6,000, right? They must have put the mileage, everything in. So they're talking $3,500 if it's in decent condition. And he's selling it for $2,000. So you got $1,500 to go towards your new transmission if you were willing to spend up to $3,500. And that's not a bad deal. I think this guy's very wise. He kind of dumps it out there. And in all honesty, if I know it's just keeping the fluid up, and if anything, it's a leak in the transfer case and all I have to do is put a new gasket in, they'll probably charge me $1,500 just to do that. Maybe they'll only charge me $8 to put a new gasket in my transfer case, as long as nothing's destroyed, right? Well, if you can drive this thing home from St. Paul, which he's not saying trailer it, right? And it has all these great amenities, it's driving. Shoot, guys, you might have a nice little nimble vehicle. And I got to tell you, I don't hate mine. I kind of grown to love it. I'm not a huge fan of the hips on this thing. What I mean by hips is that right there, these hips. But, they said it, the newer Compasses like this, and now the really new ones are really nice. But like it's Grand Cherokee styling in a little Jeep, in a Liberty body, or a Patriot body. And so that's basically what they did is they took their middle of the road, mid-size SUV, or even small, if you want to consider it this way. And they made the Grand Cherokee in a small version. They made the Cherokee square body from the 90s and the 80s in the Patriot, basically. And then they have the Liberty, which is probably their smaller one. And they bounced between the round headlights on the Liberty to flat lights, the whole 9 yards. But really, I always liked the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I've liked the square box too. So they gave you a smaller version is what it is. And I don't hate it. I really, it does a great job. It's nimble. It carries my equipment, and I can still fit 4 people in the car. It's pretty nuts how well it works. So there's my Facebook enjoyability, guys. I hope you don't mind. had a little fun, went a little long today, but check out the front end of these episodes. I'm almost on 2 hours, you guys. This is great. I could talk about anything for a while. You guys want to leave me comments and stuff when I'm live? That's awesome. I'll try, and I don't think I'll be able to go on this evening as I've got my show from 7:30 over at JR's in Polonia, and excited to do that. Going to be getting my son from school this afternoon, so I wanted to get you a good episode in here and a couple of them. So you get music on the front end of this episode and something on the back end dealing with Facebook and all that stuff. What are we talking about? A whole lot of stuff, and you see right up here, we were talking about Alyssia Dominguez again to kind of throw back to that. We were talking about the Badgers. We were talking about a little bit of the Bucks. Some happy birthdays went out there. And, of course, we were worried about scams on Facebook. So we kind of talked about that in this episode. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I got long-winded. I'm going to go have some daggum lunch. I hope you guys do, too. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.
That's kind of it.